Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the new PeaceNet GUI scaler system that allows you to basically, well, scale the user interface. So here's the backstory. In ShiftOS, the game was built in Windows Forms, and Windows Forms does not do GUI scaling at all. At least in .NET Framework 4.5, which is what ShiftOS was written in. And what would happen is, let's say you have a 4K display, and the game is written for 1080p. You'll have really small windows, so you'll have lots of screen real estate, but at the same time, text will also be really small and hard to read. Fast forward to ShiftOS 1.x when we moved to monogame, and we tried to port the entire user interface over, and we're following WinForms GUI structure, so we don't have GUI scaling. So the same problem is present. And we don't really notice this problem because a lot of us are running on 1080p. Not a lot of people playing the game have 4K. But then we get a few issues when we move to PeaceNet, because we're still using the same GUI system, which has no scaling. And it starts off first with Philip Adams testing the game as we implement the Sentience Tries Out mission, and he has a 4K display. And he can't read the text on the screen. That's not good. Now I only have a 1080p display despite recording this in 720p, scaled up. So I couldn't test the game in 4K. I was running it for 1080p, and everything was fine for me. And then we get more bug reports. And this time, instead of it being too unreadable in 4K, now things are not fitting on the screen in 720p, and things are not fitting on the screen in 800 by 600. So, needless to say, something had to be done. Our first attempt was to simply create a 4K render target, 16 by 9, and write the game for 4K, and scale that render target to whatever resolution you're running at. That obviously will work fine if your system can handle rendering a 4K texture, and your normal resolution is 16 by 9. But if you go down to 4 by 3, and you go down way too much on the resolution, you're going to have unreadable text, so we're back where we started. Our next attempt was to make it 4K, but aspect ratio aware. So if you have a 32 by 9 screen resolution, for example you're running in NVIDIA Surround 1080p, you're going to get a 4K resolution that's double the size of regular, or double the width of a regular 16 by 9 4K screen. That worked fine, until we figured out that, of course, if you're not running a really decent GPU, you're not going to be able to handle rendering that no matter what resolution you set the game to. It's always going to render to 4K. So then we came up with a better solution. What if we make the base resolution 1080p, but allow the user to adjust the resolution or the vertical resolution of the render target, but basically use the second system we tried out with the 4K aspect ratio aware render target, just allowing the user to set the height of it. And that is why you're seeing this screen in front of you. This is the new GUI scaler user interface. You'll see it when you first start the game, and you haven't set your GUI scale yet. And it's asking you to adjust the slider below until the rectangle is as small as possible, while the text in the rectangle is still readable. So the text in the rectangle tells you a bit about Peacegate OS and its placeholder text. But I'm running in 720p, and the game automatically calculates a base scale for you based on your resolution. So it'll try its best to get a decent scale for you. But if this rectangle isn't fitting on screen, it's an 800 by 600 rectangle, so the max window size. If this rectangle is not fitting on screen, you want to adjust the slider down, like so. And it doesn't live update, because if it did, then memory allocations would go crazy in PC Engine, and we don't want that. But the lower you drag this, the smaller the text is going to be, and the more screen real estate you're going to have. However, if the text is too unreadable for you, you want to drag it up. As you drag it up, the text gets bigger, and you get less screen real estate. So once this blue rectangle gets outside of the screen's bounds, you want to drag it down. And you want to find the best balance of screen real estate and text readability. So we're in 720p, and I'm finding the text pretty readable myself. I don't know about you guys. At around, I'd say 1.25 or 1.25 times 1080p. And once you're done, you just want to hit, well, if I can find my mouse here, because it's a bit dodgy sometimes. I'm not really the best at seeing, as you guys probably know. Once you're done setting the GUI scale, you want to hit done. It'll lag out for a bit as it applies the settings. Then you'll get the watercolor games splash screen, and you'll boot into the game. Now this is a debug build, so it's going to be slower, but as you can see, the user interface is being scaled. And if we go up to, say, 1280 by 768, I may have to adjust my resolution in OBS on my other monitor, but either that or it'll get cut off in OBS if I can find the apply button. But when we hit apply, theoretically, if I don't miss the button, everything is going to generally stay in the same spot with the same size. Now, of course, my OBS is going to cut this off because I'm recording in 1080p and I'm scaling up from 720p, and it's all whacked up, and it doesn't like the resolution that it's at right now, so we're going to go back to 720p. But everything's generally where it's supposed to be in the UI, which is good. We want that. So we're going to take it back to 720p. Again, if I can find my mouse here. And apply. And we're good to go. Now, if you're not happy with your GUI scale, I've also added a way to bring that little screen back from within settings. You just click this button, and you get the user interface back. So if I want to make it a little bit bigger, then I can just hit apply, and as you can see, everything's bigger. And I can also go into single player, start a game, and you'll see that everything in the user interface, every single thing that's rendered to the screen, is going to be scaled. So as you can see, my text is nice and big. This isn't really going to fit on screen because of a bug I have to fix. But if we go into system settings, if I'm in P8OS and things aren't really fitting on screen and I'm not too happy with it, I can set the GUI scale from within P-Skate OS. That will do with that. Apply. Now everything's smaller. It's a very neat system. I really like it. It's going to be really useful because theoretically the game should work on any display resolution now. You should be able to scale it. Now there is a caveat. The highest scale you can go, or no, the lowest GUI scale you can go is having a vertical resolution of 4K, and the lowest you can go is 576p. So that's worth noting. Anyway, that's about it for this quick little feature demonstration of P-Skate, or Peace Engine, that's coming tonight. It's nightly build or weekly build. I hope you guys found this kind of interesting. I'm really happy we figured this bug out, and I will see you guys in the next video. I should probably end my recording before I close out of P-Skate. Thank you guys for watching.